Yo YouTube, what's going on? It's Dysphonic here and welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, please make sure to hit that subscribe button for more videos around music production. Otherwise, today I want to show you guys how to master your songs in FL Studio in 5 easy steps. For this video, I'll be using FL Studio default plugins and 2 free plugins. The links are under the description so that you can download them. The 2 free plugins will help you master your songs better. Even though I've made a video on mastering before, I urge you to watch this video because I'll be unfolding more concepts that I haven't covered before. So make sure to watch till the end and also leave a like if you enjoyed the video. Without wasting much of your time, let's get on to FL Studio. Let me show you how you can master your songs in 5 easy steps. So now we are here on FL Studio. This is the song that I'll be mastering today with you guys. I've been working on it and I'm satisfied with how it sounds and also with how the mix is. And that brings us to the first step of mastering, which is preparing your song for mastering, right? When you prepare your song for mastering, you want to make sure that your mix does not go beyond -6 decibels. I'm just gonna play my song and we are still safe. So on average, the song must not go beyond -6 decibels. I'm gonna go to a louder section of the song. So the loudest part of the song was slightly above -6 and the quiet part was slightly below -6. So I can say on average, we are on -6 decibels. But then if you are maybe way above or way below -6 decibels, what you want to do is mix your song either upwards or downwards, depending on whether you are way above the decibel, the threshold, or way below it. So to mix your song up or down, what you have to do is select all of your tracks on your mixer and make sure that all of your sounds are linked to the mixer. So after selecting all of them, you wanna take the faders down like that, right? So now you're mixing your song down. Now that you've prepared your song for mastering by making sure that it caps around -6 decibels, now we can proceed to step 2. Step 2 is to export your song in WAV and then import it onto a blank FL Studio project. The reason I do this is to make sure that things are not too heavy on my computer, because as you can see, the project looks messy already. There's a lot of things going on, a lot of automations going on, a lot of plugins that were opened, a lot of things were loaded on the mixer. It's gonna be too heavy on my PC when I try master on this very same project. So it's better to export it as a WAV file and then import it on a blank FL Studio. It's better to do things that way. And obviously when you send your songs for mastering to a professional sound engineer who's gonna master your song, they're gonna request a WAV file. Now to export it as a WAV file, I'm gonna hold down Ctrl+Shift+S. And then I'm gonna change that to Microsoft WAV file and then click save and then start. So I've finished exporting the song as a WAV file and I've also opened up a blank FL Studio and I've turned down the BPM to 119 so that it matches the BPM of the mix. Now I'm gonna import the mix to the playlist. Now that you've successfully imported your mix onto FL Studio, the next step will be to put on some fades onto your mix. To do that, you send this track to mixer and then copy that value and then create automation clip. So what we're trying to do here is to smoothly fade in the song and to smoothly fade it out to make sure that it does not have that sharp or punchy attack at the beginning and also at the end. So it has to smoothly fade in and smoothly fade out. So I'm gonna go right here at the beginning and then maybe there, and then paste that value just to make sure that it's at 80, and then do that, and do the same for the outro to make sure that it fades smoothly. And then I'm gonna paste value. Let me just play the fades. This is step number 3. All right, so that's a smooth start. And then let's listen to this part. Now for step number 4, what we're gonna do first is remove the limiter. I know this is against the rules because a limiter is there for safety, but then I'll be using an alternative plugin as a limiter. So hence I'm removing it because it's just gonna be unnecessary plugins that I'm loading. So what we're gonna do for slot number 10 is load a loudness meter, and I'll use this for step number 5, but I have to load it right at the end. And then I also have to load a snap analysis plugin. These 2 plugins are free, and I've also left a link down under the description for you guys to download them. They do not come pre-installed in FL Studio, so please go download them. They are for free. This is the span plugin and also the youlean loudness meter. So the youlean loudness meter is used to measure how loud your song is, and the span analysis is just a visualizer for your frequency spectrum, right? So we'll be using the span for step number 4, right? So let's start with step number 4. The first thing we're gonna do is cut unnecessary frequencies and then give boost to frequencies that we want to be louder, right? So we're gonna now go apply a 20 to 18 kilohertz cut, and then so we've removed unnecessary frequencies. Now let's give boost to frequencies that we feel like need some bit of boosting. How do we see which frequencies need some bit of boosting? We're gonna now open up our span plugin and then play our song. So let's first loop it at the loudest section, maybe somewhere there. So as the song is playing, you can press hold to take a snapshot of the frequencies. So if I put my mouse over there, if you can follow that horizontal line, it shows where my frequencies are leveling up to in average, or the volume of my frequencies. So this is where they are all leveling up to in average. But then if you can look at this side, we have a lot of concentrated low frequencies over here. The high frequencies are there, but then it's fine because they're just spiking. But then here we have a lot of concentrated low frequencies. So that's something that we can chop off. But then where exactly are we chopping off on our EQ? Because we're gonna use our EQ to chop off. This snap plugin also gives you value of the frequency that you are at. So if I can put my mouse over here, the frequency that I'm at is 60 Hertz. If you can read this value over here, that's 60 Hertz. So what I can now do is go to my parametric EQ and then chop off some frequencies around 60 Hertz. Let me just press play. So just locate your 60, that's 60. So I'm gonna chop it off a bit. So we've now chopped off the first frequency. We can do this for as long as we want to, just to make sure that we balance our frequencies, but then don't abuse it because you're gonna end up removing the whole character of your sounds. As you can see, there's a spark over here. Let me just press play again. then press hold. That's a very sharp spark or spike in frequencies, so we can chop that off as well. That's playing at around 1.5 kilohertz. Is it? Yeah, 1.5 kilohertz. So I'm gonna load my parametric EQ and locate 1.5 and then chop that out. All right, cool. Chop that out like that. So we've chopped off the unnecessary frequencies. Let's see which frequencies we can give a boost so that we balance off our frequency spectrum. In average, this is where our song is. So I think maybe the frequencies we can give a boost are these ones. So that's somewhere around 3.5 kilohertz. Yeah, 3.5 kilohertz. 3.5 kilohertz, somewhere there. You can give it a minor boost. Don't overdo it, because anything you do on your master bus can end up ruining your whole mix. So that should be enough. So by doing that, you've completed step number 4 of mastering. We can now proceed to step number 5, which is the final and most important step of mastering. Remember, I deleted the Fruity limiter because I said I was going to use a different plugin for it. The plugin that I'll be using is Maximus. It's pre-installed on FL Studio. The Maximus plugin is very powerful. So I'll be using the Maximus plugin for 3 things, which is limiting, compression, and amplification. So that's limiting the song, giving the song some compression, and also giving it some gain, right? What we're going to start off with is limiting the song. Let me just expand this so that you can see what's happening over here. We're going to limit the song at negative 1.5 decibels. Negative 1.5 decibels should appear somewhere there. So if you can read the value up there, it's written negative 1.5 decibels. This is just to keep us in a space of safety, right? So that we do not go beyond the, let me say, negative 14 LUFS. So I will be using the Maximus together with the youlean loudness meter for step number 5. The youlean loudness meter is used to measure loudness of a song. The reason why this is very important to us as music producers is because digital stores have their own requirements for loudness units. Loudness units is LUFS, right? So if you're not aware of this and then you submit your song to, let's say, for example, Spotify requires minus 14 LUFS as a maximum threshold. So anything beyond that will be taken down. So let's say, for example, you mix and master your song and you feel like it's loud enough, you're not aware of loudness units or LUFS, and then you submit your song to Spotify, and that time your song is way beyond minus 14 LUFS. Let's say, for example, minus 8 LUFS. So what Spotify does is it's going to take your song down from minus 8 to minus 14 to meet their threshold. And that process of them taking it down comes with a lot of distortion, squashing, and tempering with your mix. And your mix is going to sound a lot different than it was. And trust me, your mix is not going to sound better than it was. It might sound worse than it was because your sounds will become very distorted. So that's why it is best to be aware of LUFS as a producer. And for Spotify, negative 14 is a requirement for LUFS. This is the integrated LUFS that we're going to be looking at. So I will be playing my song and then make sure that I meet that requirement. So let's just press clear all measurements there so that everything is set to 0. Now what we're gonna do is press play and give our song gain bit by bit until we reach minus 14 LUFS. And also we have to make sure that our song is not being compressed a lot. So just make sure to watch that area over there to make sure that your song is not being overly compressed. A little bit of compression is needed there and there. So let's press play. As you can see, we are playing around minus 19 LUFS. So I'm gonna give it gain over here. So just use the pre-gain knob over there. And also take down the attack a bit, just to make sure that your spikes are not too, what can I say, too There was a lot of compression over there, so you can take down your pre-gain a bit. And also make sure that your true peak is not above 0 decibels. The safest value is minus 0.5 decibels. Now the last part that I want us to focus on is to make use of our stereo field, right? So what we're gonna do is, for our lows, let's just keep them in mono, and then for our mids we can separate them. But let's just press play and listen to how it sounds when you play around with this knob. As you heard, the percussions and hi-hats are being separated. They are sounding a lot more wider and full. But then I do not advise you to play with the master separation knob, because it also separates the low frequencies, and the low frequencies, we want them to play in mono, we want them to be meshed. So when you play around with this one, you are also affecting the low frequencies. That's why I would like you to individually play with the frequency ranges only and not the master. That brings us to the end of the video. I hope you learned a lot from today's video. If you did, please do leave a like, leave a comment. Let me know that you enjoyed watching the video. And yeah, that is it from me today. I'll catch you on my next one. Cheers.